So not a lot of videos out there on this bag, so I thought I'd do a quick one. Just going over some of the features and some of the modifications I've done to it. This is the Vertx Navigator. Main thing about it is it's a sling bag by Vertx. It does have a concealed carry component to it. Access with this this oversized tab, which can be removed if you so desire, but the tab is designed to move the bag from back to front quickly in one direction, then in the back direction opens up that compartment. And inside that compartment is hook and loop fasteners. Doesn't come with any of this. This is a 511 holster, and I honestly don't know where I got these two, but the main thing that makes this bag unique is the fact that it has a body armor component to it. So if you purchase it sold separately, I'm not opening it up, but you can see it in there. Premier Body Armor makes a soft level 3 plate, soft plate in there. So when this is deployed and if it's in the right location, it gives you added protection of the body armor. But the thing about this bag is that it's not really set up to do any of that right out of the box. So I wanted to go over a couple things I did that might be useful to you too. So first thing, remove and get rid of this thing. So it comes attached to these two tabs on the side. And the idea behind it is it gives you an added connection point if you want to run it a certain way. But the first thing is this is never out of the way. It's really bulky. These things, the extra strap kind of looped up like this. Even if you run it behind this padding, it's still incredibly bulky. And if you set up the strap correctly to begin with, it's really not necessary. You can run this as a chest rig without it. So my advice, take it out of these little plastic brackets and just set it aside, discard it. So the other thing is that the strap, when it comes to you, it actually runs through the top. So these things come up through here and it just runs kind of the top part of the bag, which is really strange because as a sling bag, then it kind of flaps around. It doesn't have that stability if its attachment points are at the top. And much to my surprise, there's no other brackets at the bottom, so there's no other way to run it. But what I did is I rerouted it, and I actually took a safety pin and I pinned this thing down so that instead of running up and straight, I run the tab down kind of behind this pad and then 45 degrees out through the side. So this comes down. This piece goes through this slot. It kind of connects back up to the bracket. You don't have to do it with a safety pin, obviously, but what I was trying to do is just keep it from bunching up. Without that, it tends to get a little twisted in here. It's a little twisted without it, but that's it. So I did that on both sides, and the main idea is that if it's a sling bag, you kind of want the axis of the sling to be at the center of the bag. That way when it's tight against the body, it doesn't move, it stays where it's supposed to stay. And really, for a good sling bag, it should be operable and accessible from the back and from the front. So you got to be able to rotate it around to do that. So center of axis is kind of where this thing wants to be. So that's a pretty big mod. You can also do it one side through the top and one side through. What that does is it actually gets it oriented more vertically on your body. It's actually oriented just like this on your back if you do it that way. And then it orients like this in the front. But I wanted it at a 45 in both cases. So that's how you do that. The other thing I did is I pinned, using a safety pin again, I pinned the non-movable end of the strap. And the reason for that is they have this really cool device here that works kind of like a rifle, 2-point rifle sling. It's a quick release tab that cinches it up tight and then quickly also, I guess, cinches it up tight and then also releases it. So you can have the tab pretty loose for putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, and then you can cinch it up tight to wear it, which is kind of where you want it to be. If you're doing things like mountain biking or hiking or other activities, you want this thing flapping around. So this gives you the ability to tighten it up. But the problem is if you don't pin this piece, it moves around on you too. It picks up slack out of this. And so it's constantly working against you. So if I pin this end and then cover that up with this little tab, then all of my control happens at this 1-point sling, which is kind of cool. Other thing I did, again, this is a personal preference. I don't like having a lot of excess material. So when it's not full of stuff, I like having it cinched down and kind of tight so it's not kind of up and bulky. So I just used a couple of S-clips to tighten it up. They have these little attachment points here for connecting other things, but this gives you the ability to kind of cinch it up tight when you don't have a lot of stuff. When you do have a lot of stuff, just disconnect one end and it opens back up again and you're good to go. That's pretty much it. Some simple mods. Overall, very good bag. Like I say, when you run it center of axis, it sets really nicely, and that body armor component sets right where you want it to be, kind of just right under your chin, tight to your chest as you access that component. So, Vertx Navigator.